doing a series on supervision mistakes we made so that you don't have to. Giving you some real world stories, examples of things that imploded for us. Maybe they went sideways. Maybe we got shafted. They're real life takeaways that, you know, we want to share with you so that you can see around the corners and let our hindsight be your foresight. Part of our mission at Hacking Music is to add more value than anybody else. So whether you're part of our Supervisor Sync community or part of the Sync School or just interested in music licensing, we want to share these out so that you can start to build some muscle around what you're doing and maybe those first projects you take on as a music supervisor. So in this video, I want to talk about honey over flies. This is not really one big mistake we learned or made, but it's a lot of little things that add up to this idea of honey over flies. So it's been said, and I think this really summarizes it, the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. Let me say that again. The loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. So if you're at a sports game, maybe baseball, basketball, or football, the people that complain the most are in the cheapest seats. The better seats are people that are glad to be there and not complaining, not whining, not piss and vinegar, right? So the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. And it's super common as you're working in supervision to take on projects that maybe you should say no to or pass on. And this is a struggle that most baby supervisors face, is that they want to work on a project so bad that they say yes to it. And you should say yes to your first couple projects to work on because you're going to learn a ton from them. But after those first couple projects, you want to start to raise your bar a little bit. You want to learn to say no and to have a criteria for the people you work with. And we workshop this big time in the Supervisor Sync community and in the Sync School. So some of the things that you want to be thinking about are, should I say yes to a project? Okay. You need to know what criteria you need before you can say yes to a project. Maybe it's a first-time filmmaker who has a super tiny budget. Maybe you say yes, or maybe you say pass to that. Maybe it has to do with the food chain, the music food chain of there's honey and flies, right? There's the super songs are the honey, right? They're the stuff you want. And then there's kind of some of the lower level stuff, maybe unknown indie stuff that is kind of the flies. And again, it's the idea of the loudest boos come from the cheapest seats. So we rarely hear boos from the honey, the super songs, the well-known music we use in our projects. Where we get a lot of noise is from the indie artists who maybe think their music is more precious than it is, and they want the same amount as Taylor Swift, and that's just not the way the world works. So it also shows itself in the music we license, in the food chain of music. And it also can also show up in favors. If someone asks you to do a favor for them and they're really grateful that you're considering that, there's honey and there's flies in favors. And if they're going to be complaining and a pain to work with, you want to be able to say no or pass on some of those favors. If they're genuine and they really are sincere in their help, then maybe you consider it and you say yes to it. So what we learned is up market, the people, that's the honey, the professionals, the people that have some experience. And down market, the noise and the flies, that's where you kind of get a lot of the regret from taking on a project. So you want to begin to think about your bar. What do you say yes to and what do you say no to as a music supervisor? And again, we workshop this really specifically in the Supervisor Sync community, but we don't have time in these little mini videos to go deep into those. So I want to put that in your pipe. It's the idea of honey beats flies. So as you're saying yes to projects, as you're considering music and as you're considering favors, I want you to think about the honey and I want you to think about the flies, and if it's worth your time to start saying no after you've done a couple freebies for free. You want to begin to start saying, I don't think I'm the right person for you, but I can put you in touch with somebody else. And we do that a lot in the Music Supervisor Sync community, where we actually, projects that aren't right for us at the Sync Center, we share out to the community, and they can take them on because they're maybe 2 years into supervision. They would love to work on that project. So anyways, that's the idea of honey over flies. This is a mistake we made, and I want to give this to you so you can start to implement this in your workflow on your next project. Okay? We'll see you next time.